I'm Senator Smith. Thank you. Thank you, Chair Brown. Senator Toomey, Pat, we wish you the best in whatever adventures you have before you. I'm sure they'll be exciting, and thank you for your service to Pennsylvania and to the United States of America through the Senate. So we wish you the very best.
Thank you very much, Senator Smith.
Thank you. So, Director Chopra, thank you so much for being with us, and I appreciate your testimony and your answers to the questions today. You know, markets need to work for consumers as well as the private sector businesses that serve those consumers. It needs to be fair and transparent so that people aren't taken advantage of. And I want to thank you for the work that you and CFPB do to make that value real. And it does seem like there are new scams that hop up constantly. Here's an example that I want to ask you about. In November, ProPublica and the Sahan Journal co-published a story describing practices targeting the Somali community in Minnesota. So real estate investors are apparently pitching contracts for deed, sometimes known as land contracts or seller financing, as an interest-free way of purchasing a home. And this is, of course, particularly attractive to Somali buyers, many of whom have religious tenets forbidding paying interest. Under these arrangements, a buyer pays a seller directly in installments, and there is no mortgage or bank. And there are also very few consumer protections for buyers, and the contracts are also often structured to contain large, unmanageable balloon payments. And so what happens? Families end up defaulting on their mortgages and are at risk of losing their homes. And the stories are really terrible when you read them. So I want to just ask if you're aware of this issue, have you heard about this, and what could you do in response to these practices to protect these consumers?
Well, I saw this report, and one of the things that I think I've shared with some of you before is this issue of exploiting religious beliefs.
Yes.
I think is very pernicious. And I think the extent to which, I don't know all the facts to see if it violates the law, it certainly raises red flags when there may be deception or, frankly, taking someone's home without the appropriate safeguards in place. I want to make sure that the CFPB is not in the business of projecting the future of, the economy, but we are always paranoid about what could come. And I think housing insecurity and evictions and all of the associated rules, we need to make sure that we can stop some of these before they really go nationwide.
Exactly, before they take off. And that's my concern, too, that what's happening here is people, bad actors exploiting this prohibition amongst Muslim folks to not pay interest and then taking advantage of them. Similarly, I'm also concerned about recent reports about a new deceptive practice that seems specifically designed to deceive homeowners. This is about basically it's related to contracts for providing upfront cash to homeowners in exchange for an exclusive right by a real estate firm to serve as their listing agent for out to 40 years. And so this upfront cash is described as a loan alternative, and the only way that a homeowner can exit this arrangement is to pay 3% of the home value back to the realtor, the company, and then that's enforced as a lien against the property. It's just another example of the ways, just as you say, the way that this huge challenge that we have around housing in our country is being taken advantage of, it appears, by these bad actors.
And I also, in that situation, particularly worry about older homeowners who are often sitting in homes they've lived in for a long time.
Right.
And often that's their core source of wealth and their ability to finance their retirement. I will say on this issue, we've seen the Florida AG, we've seen other AGs take actions. Sometimes it implicates our authorities, other times it does not. But that's part of the reason we want more state AG and state regulator coordination with us, because often if it doesn't trip our laws, it may trip theirs. And that's why we've really put a premium on investing in those state AGs, and I want to commend your state for really being part of that work.
Yes, our Attorney General does excellent work and keeps consumer protection at the forefront of his efforts, so I appreciate that. Thank you, Mr. Chair.